thing.
There's a lot of sand in the desert.
There's a lot of sand. Odin.
I've never seen a turtle.
All righty.
Actually, none of us would have ever seen a real turtle, I'm sure.
No.
Oh, I've seen a real turtle.
Is that a real turtle?
Real turtle.
So a couple house cleaning things before we start.
Yes.
I will require assistance with the rules occasionally. So I will ask for it if I need it.
I like that. If even if it takes some time to access, if you ask for it, we'll provide it, and if you don't ask for it, we'll wait. I'd like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good for people watching too.
But I will let you know. It'll probably be pretty obvious. Unless there's something like really glaringly obvious that I'm totally missing, but for the most part, I'll just ask if I need a system thing. And of course, they admonish us to not roll very often. If you're stuck for what to do, I believe page 168 is pretty much like what you should be doing. As far as investigations are concerned, like what do I do? So that can give you pretty good.
That's actually possibly the best resource I've seen in any RPG dealing with investigations. No RPG has that. Most people learn to play just because we watch movies, right? But this is that broken down. Yeah. So that's great.
I have a question. I was fortunate enough with my character to generate 5 promotion points, and I'd like to spend them before we start on getting another specialty, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Did I miss the part where you generate?
I think it's under your template. You roll dice of certain type, and it generates a couple of points for you. But I think if you have more than 5, is that right, Anthony? More than 5 is where you can improve.
Yeah, 5, and you can buy a specialty.
Right. So I got like 3, so it doesn't.
I've got 2 specialties. I'm good.
And you get like Chinyan points as well. So that's under the template. Right. If you didn't use a template, I guess you pick whatever's closest.
No, I did.
Right. When I made my characters, I rolled just like these guys are broke and have no promotion points whatsoever. so when I play,
right?
It's
yeah.
Okay. Done.
So what specialty does Grant Stockbridge going to buy?
Killer.
Oh, excellent. A very useful specialty.
So for those who are not in the know, Killer allows you to roll 2 crit die and choose the one you want.
Awesome.
Well, excellent. That's actually another housekeeping question, because that's one thing I didn't notice going over our cheat sheet and everything else is when you get broken, does that automatically cause a critical injury, or is it just when you roll 2 more successes than your opponent? That was.
I believe so. Let me double check, but I think you do.
Okay. I may have to kill this cat. Hold on for 1 second.
On us,
broken by damage.
Killed by death?
No, it's further attacks that cause damage trigger automatic crit. And I think with stress,
yeah, it was more evident like how you get with stress, I think.
Yeah, I believe if you get broken for resolve broken by stress,
right,
then you roll an empathy die and treat that as a crit. So it's different, I guess.
Yeah. So physical, you don't
physical normally you
okay.
Don't unless the weapon rolled it during the attack, or or you get a subsequent hit. You're already broken and you get hit again. That's an auto crit.
Right. Yeah. So I guess if somebody's got your fingers your hand through a wall or something like that, it starts breaking your fingers one by one.
For example,
which won't happen. Well, for example, just hypothetically. Okay, I think those are the only really house cleaning things or things I wanted to ask. So then, what I'm going to do is have you guys at least start out by telling us, the audience, and myself, who your Blade Runner is, how many years you've been in the Force, your key memory, and then what your key item is. So we'll start with Grant Stockbridge.
All right. Grant Stockbridge is a seasoned member of the Force. He's been attached to the Force for 4 years. And what else was it you wanted me to share?
Your key memory, just and your key item, just briefly. Nothing fancy.
Key item is his ankle-length heavy leather coat, which I tell you first because it ties into his key memory, where he and other kids from his neighborhood, he grew up in the derelict housing projects in the LA Hills, and he doesn't have a clear memory of the person, but he remembers the coat. And the kids say that that a Blade Runner saved them from a rogue replicant. He can't say if that's true or not. He remembers being saved, but the Blade Runner did not survive the encounter.
Alrighty. And Detective Carlos Bennett, next one appearing on my screen.
Yeah, I'm playing Carlos Bennett. He's also a seasoned member of the Force, 6 years on the unit.
6 years.
His key memory is similar to Grant Stockbridge's when he was a teenager, wondering what to do with his life. He was at Animoid Row looking at fish tanks full of colorful koi fish. And the memory is of another rogue replicant near the time of the blackout. And it was rampaging through the area when a selfless beat cup, just a regular LAPD officer, sacrificed himself to protect innocent bystanders. And this memory, caused him to, it inspired him to pursue a career in law enforcement. And it's just one cop, right? It cost him his life probably, but the mere fact of his sacrifice made him want to become a cop. And his key item is, funny enough, a bar stool at his favorite bar.
Oh, so interacting with their key item is a key part of relieving stress. So while Grant Stockbridge will simply be able to stroke his ankle length coat and straighten it out, and yeah, exactly. Detective Carlos Bennett will have to go to Cheers.
Yes.
and grab his favorite bar stool
all the way across the city.
All the way across. Okay, well that's convenient. All right, anyhow. Exactly, Norm. All right, so moving on to Detective Odin Rosick.
Well, you're going to find Odin at Meg's at my open bar stool right next to Detective Bennett.
That's your key item? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So my open bar stool at Meg's. I am a fixer, 14 years on the Force.
14? Whoa.
Yeah.
So what does that make you? That makes you a...
It was a veteran, not veteran. It was veteran, right?
Veteran, yeah, you're the old man.
Yeah. All right. Key memory. My dad is pretty high up in the LAPD. And unlike a lot of people, pretty straight shooter, which was pretty rare, especially during his time. Not that it's any better now, but I was young, 19, kid, fell in love, or lust, whatever you do when you're 19.
It's lust.
Yeah. And she turned out to be a replicant. She lured me out outside of the city and kidnapped me and held me for ransom. And my father...
So what was the problem?
Yeah. What's that?
What was the problem? Go on.
Yeah. No, yeah. So dad kind of pulled some strings, didn't make anything official, and got me out, paid the ransom. And the Force found out, and people that had a grudge against my dad used it as a perfect opportunity to can him. So that's why I'm a cop. I'm gonna not only am I gonna, out cop my dad, I've also, got a few axes to grind, and also realized that maybe being a straight shooter isn't the way to get things done.
Dad's still alive?
At least not every time. He is. He doesn't talk to me.
Oh, this reminds me. I should ask for your key relationship as well.
Yeah, it's my father.
Okay, all right. So it's Dad, yeah.
Yeah.
And Grant Stockbridge, your key relationship is with whom?
His key relationship is with his neighbor. He's living in an old warehouse behind Anemoid Row, actually. And in the warehouse, there are 2 loft apartments, and his neighbor is his key relationship. And he feels very protective of this elderly person in this dangerous city.
And Carlos Bennett?
My key relationship is a romantic partner whom I have named Roxanne. And it's a hateful relationship.
Oh, so boy.
She's not too happy with me because I constantly disappoint her.
Oh, so the red light is off. Okay.
Maybe that's what she does. Maybe she walks the streets for money, right?
Yeah, but it's not on for you.
I guess not. Not lately. Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
4 people watching just turned us off.
Yeah, I know. Hey, listen, and finally, Dutch. Okay, I can't hear you yet. So your audio might be a little screwy.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I had to switch it off because the dogs were at war earlier.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, Dutch is a replicant who's been on the force for almost a year.
Okay.
And so he was like designed for SRT type operations, right? And so he's been just recently detached to the more detective side of things and blade running. Key item, signature item. It's what looks to be a theme park souvenir keychain, probably Disneyland. His location will take it out and look at it. His key memory, some years back, he was with members of his squad celebrating after successful taking down of some insurgents in the colony world. And they were in a nightclub, strip club type place, and they were suddenly attacked by masked assassins. Now, he actually managed to be the one survivor. He fought the assassins, and he managed to survive. But when he unmasks one, it was another member of their unit. So they were betrayed by other people in their unit. Now, and he was kind of emboldened because he was able to survive against other members of his unit with similar talents, but obviously a deep sense of betrayal. Now, the most interesting about that memory is that this happened in a colony world some years back. But in reality, Dutch's been alive for 18 months.
Right.
And he went to the academy and then to the police force.
Exactly. But, as we know,
yeah.
Who's your key relationship, by the way?
Key relationship. Yeah. Key relationship is another replicant. She's a doxy. Her name is I can't find where I wrote it here. We'll figure it out later. So she was he met her because she was one of the trainers in the academy in terms of the subterfuge skills, infiltration skills, and that sort of thing. They have a passionate relationship.
Okay.
But she wants something from him.
What's that?
She wants to know about the replicants, the rogue replicants that he takes down. She doesn't tell him what, but she asks him who they are and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Interesting. All right. Well, that's a great segue into where we are in history and why you have those bizarre memories of that never happened. They're older than you are. And so the year is 2037. For those of you familiar with the Blade Runner franchise or story timeline or what have you, the original movie was in 2019. And so that is when a rogue Nexus 6 killed Eldon Tyrell, the director of the Tyrell Corporation. Nexus 6 were already illegal on Earth at that point. There was more of a crackdown on the Nexus 6, which all died after 4 years anyhow. Tyrell Corporation unveiled the Nexus 8, rejecting the somewhat hush-hush Nexus 7, kind of legendary, but who knows what they are, Nexus 7 designs. They rushed out the Nexus 8, which had a normal lifespan, and also were given artificial memories. It's illegal to give replicants real memories, but these artificial memories were thought to give them some stability, and forming some kind of persona and ability to handle stress and cope with their lot in life and all these sorts of things. So the memories that Dutch has, well, they're not real. They didn't happen to him. They probably didn't happen to anybody, or did they? Who can say? Who can say, yeah, after the only other thing to consider, or I guess there's several things to consider as far as timeline, is that somewhere around 2022-ish, correct me if I'm wrong, the blackout happened after the Nexus 8 series was, which was supposed to be safer, better. Well, they were half that. They were better than the Nexus 6, but they still managed to rebel and cause some trouble. And, well, it's understandable considering the types of jobs they were given. And it's hard to imagine anybody not being a little disgruntled and rebelling in circumstances where you're given the jobs that nobody else wants to do. They have managed to help they managed to help colonization. They managed to help, in various ways in the city of Los Angeles, which is this huge, sprawling city. And help is absolutely necessary or needed because a lot of the population of Earth has left. Anybody that can leave has left to the dreams of new colony world, which aren't necessarily always dreams of sunshine and rainbows, but just getting the hell off of Earth, which we have managed to absolutely ruin. The climate is miserable. Most of the species are gone. It's just not a nice place to live. But here you are. And beautiful, not so sunny, downtown Los Angeles. And a lot of the surrounding population has flocked to the city, but despite that, the city is still kind of underpopulated for its size. So there's areas where there's almost nobody, and there's areas where people tend to congregate, just that's because that's how humans are. What else do I need to tell you? Or do I need to remind the viewers of what's going on at this point? Well, there was the Nexus Prohibition Act in 2023, which made the Nexus 8 series illegal after a series of violent uprisings. Any Nexus 8s still around, well, they're rogues. There's ones that have escaped retirement by the Blade Runners. And they all have on their right eyeball, which can be seen under, I guess, blacklight or whatever the scanners that you use, serial number. So if they look up and to the left, you can scan their eye. You can see that. That's a surefire way to detect replicants. Back in the day, the void contest was much more in vogue. I'm sure that Odin Rozek might have used it once or twice, seeing as he joined the force in 2023. And again, maybe not. By then, the Nexus 8s all had the insignia on their eyes, but the older members of the force certainly got very, very good at using those. In fact, you've been trained in their usage, which we'll get to in a minute. The Nexus Prohibition Act finally went away last year, about 18 months ago, when Meander Wallace managed to convince the UN to allow him to build and market the new Nexus 9 series, which are trained to obey, not to be disobedient, not to rebel. In fact, they've gone so far in terms of making this claim and seem to be backing it up that you actually have replicant Blade Runners on the Force, like Dutch. We're not always met with open arms. I'll put it at that. In the meantime, the Force, replicant detect Force, is charged with everything dealing with replicants, not just retirement. Because to a certain extent, replicants do have due process. They are entitled to due process. They have a limited series of rights to a certain extent. And anything regarding artificial life in that, so anemoids, other synthetics, knockoffs, you're pretty much anything that involves anything like that in a police investigation. Well, guess who they call? They call you. So this morning, you've been called. It's early. The sky is a wonderful shade of black. It is raining, not cats and dogs, but raining just enough to be uncomfortable, which it seems to do almost every day. There's no real way to see the sky until you get to the top of the police building, which is one of the largest buildings in all of Los Angeles. Even so, up here, near the top, near Deputy Chief Holden's office, there's still not that much to see. It's just that the tops of many buildings sprawl out so much, the skyscrapers near the center of the city, that they shade the streets below. So the rain that's cascading down to the streets is actually rolling off the sides of some of these buildings. Because not only has parts of Los Angeles built up, it's built out. And generally, past the 100th floor, you're dealing with rather rich people, except in the police station, in which case you're just dealing with you, who definitely don't qualify as rich by any stretch of the imagination. But you've been called to Deputy Chief Holden's office at this early hour. You were summoned out of sleep, told to report immediately by dispatch, which is the DG, AI. And generally, you will communicate with when you're outside of the department. That's at your interface with the police force. She's a rather vivacious personality. So she rather vivaciously woke you up this morning at an ungodly hour, told you to, get your asses down here, excuse me, as fast as possible. And you're about to be summoned. Well, no, you've been summoned now into Chief Holden's office. David Holden is our Deputy Chief, David Holden. He's been on the force for a very long time. His nickname is Iron Lung, and never, ever call him that if you want to remain on the force. Why is his nickname Iron Lung? It's because during a White Camp test in 2019 of one of the rogue Nexus 6 replicants that returned to Earth, Leon Kowalski, and you know that name very, very well, shot him in the lungs. And he required both of them to be replaced by replicant technology. Kind of a ironic thing, don't you think? For somebody charged with, retiring rogue replicants. But you're very, very aware of that moment in time because you've all seen it over and over again. It's required viewing at the academy, whether you're a human and have to go through the full academy or whether you're a replicant and go through the accelerated process. In all those cases, whether you're as old as Odin Rozek or as young and wet behind the ears as Dutch, you all had the same instructor. So you can flash back in time to that same moment. And even though you weren't in the same classes, you've all experienced the same thing as instructor Dale Combs, a kind of stout, tall, muscular veteran of indeterminate age with a deep accent, talking out the side of his mouth half the time, rolls that 2-minute video of that test, the moment that Kowalski is asked to sit down, to the moment where he fires at least 3 shots into the young David Holden. And the video gets turned off. Combs turns back to you. So, what can you tell me about that? What did you just see? Don't all answer at once.
Is this a quiz show, or do you have something for us to do?
Rozek. Yes, this is part of the test. What can you tell me?
I mean, I think it's the 10th time I've seen it this year. Same time,
Okay.
same thing.
Did you learn anything, son?
Nah, I stopped learning things 2 years ago.
Dang it. Stockbridge, what can you tell me about this?
I have a question, actually.
Go ahead.
Watching this clip, every time I see it, I'm pretty sure that Holden knows this man is a replicant far earlier than when shots are fired.
Why do you say that?
He plays with them.
He does, doesn't he? Interesting.
But I don't know what he gains by it.
Bennett, what does he gain by it?
What does he gain by playing? I'm not sure what he gains by playing. I tend to agree with Stockbridge. I think he knows it's a replicant earlier, but that's not even the part that concerns me. I think this is a clear example of Chief Holden's inexperience at the time. He's interviewing a subject and hasn't checked him for weapons. So he's in a completely unsafe environment, performing this, antiquated test that at the time was all we had, right? But he should have controlled that. Checking the suspect would have saved him a lot of pain for sure.
Would have saved him pain.
Yeah, I think what he gained is 3 holes, right?
Why don't you tell the chief that yourself?
What I'm asking is, was he required to get a definitive report from the void comp test to say this is definitely a replicant before he's allowed to act? I didn't want to bring up the idea of not searching him, but this is a vital point. Although how this replicant could be carrying a gun all day at work is baffling, also,
isn't it?
This is trigger discipline.
I think that's a good observation, Stockbridge. Maybe it's it's not what we know, but what we can prove that ultimately matters in court. So I think
it certainly matters now, Bennett. Did it matter back then? Not as much. Not as much. But antiquated. It's an antiquated test. Bennett, you think they're all going to look up and to the left for you? Do you think a replicant Nexus 8 that's been hiding now for how many years?
15.
Don't answer. How many years? They're going to look up and to the left for you obediently?
Not if they've still made it this long.
Not if they've still made it this long. That's correct. Dutch, you've been awful silent. Don't just agree with me, son. What can you tell me? Surely you have some thoughts about this.
Well, you stated a plain fact, sir. Look like a clusterfuck to me.
So what is he doing with him? He's provoking him, isn't he?
That's right. He wanted to get the response. The idiot fell for it. But again, provoking somebody without taking the right precautions.
Should have taken more precautions. He's learned about the precautions now, and you need to take precautions as well out there, because you mess around and you'll be dead. You'll have a little bit more time before you're dead, Dutch. You might actually even beat the son of a bitch. The rest of you won't get out of there alive. But ask yourself this, though. Did he do the wrong thing, or did he do the right thing?
If Kowalski was not, let's say, engineered for intelligence, that would mean he'd have to be engineered for physical capability. It doesn't mean that he was trained as a combatant, but it doesn't mean he wasn't. But then again, he would have had the profiles, right? He would have had the exact specifications of Who escaped? Who came to Earth? So he should have known there's no way he could get into hand-to-hand with this Kowalski character. It just, I guess he expected a certain measure of docility, or he was afraid to retire a human by mistake.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But he certainly got the response. And it doesn't matter how intelligent they are. Because according to reports, even that baddie fella that headed up that operation, emotionally, 3-year-old. He's gotten just the same kind of responses out of him. Petulant little child. And that's part of your job, is to be able to sneak him, to sniff him out. They're not always going to look up and to the left for you, kids. And that's kind of how your memory went, more or less. So there you are, once again, in the office of Old Iron Lung, who you've seen shot multiple times. And he still breathes with kind of a wheeze, which is very impolite to mention. Just for your information. It's 8 o'clock. There's a pot of crappy coffee on. It's dark in his office, because it's always dark in his office, like it is everywhere in Los Angeles at every time. And oddly enough, he's smoking a cigarette, which doesn't seem to help. This layer of blue smoke in the office of a man with artificial lungs. It's okay, we don't have much time with this one. Thanks for coming in so early. It's a wealthy socialite. Just found dead about an hour ago. Found dead in her apartment by her maid, cook, whatever the hell this servant is. This one, Sylvia Mancini. Not that that's important. So she freaks out when she finds the socialite, who is one Victoria Muniz, daughter of Cornelius Muniz, of Muniz Holdings, mother Esmeralda Nigovan, deceased younger brother Abraham Muniz. Anyhow, that's our victim. She's found dead in her apartment an hour ago. Young lady freaks out, calls the cops. They show up really quick. And it turns out her living Nexus 9 replicant is hiding in the closet. They arrest him. They bring him down to the station, being charged with murder. I don't need to tell you what that means. So I don't know if he's guilty or not, but it's not going to be a real long time before Wallace Corporation gets the news. Right now, we're keeping the only witness here at the station asking her questions, because as soon as she gets out, she's going to tell somebody, and this thing is going to blow up in our faces. As soon as Wallace finds out, I'm going to put a kibosh on this entire operation, because, God forbid that one of his Nexus 9s disobeyed, killed somebody, and you can say goodbye to that. And there's tens of millions of them out there now, building our seawalls, all that stuff. I'm not concerned about all that crap. I'm concerned that you figure out if he's guilty or not before Wallace gets hold of this. We need justice done.
Do we have access to the 9?
He's in holding.
Okay.
What's the Vic's name again? Is Victoria Nunez?
Victoria Muniz. And
Right.
flashes up this little picture, their little spinning head. Very, very attractive young woman, probably in her late 20s.
And what did she call her 9?
Well, hold on. Push a couple more buttons and another spinning head is floating, on another screen. And you see Troy is the name. TR7823B. Pleasure model. Physical B, intellectual C. A very, very good looking, youngish man. Probably looks about 20 years old, 21 years old, if that. And information about Victoria Muniz starts, scrolling across beyond her head. The fact that she and her family live off world, but they come here rather frequently because they have various business interests. mostly her father. Although they've all
Remind me.
maintained residences here in Sector 9.
Is this stuff I assume is also being downloaded to our KIAs, right? The information.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of habit, I'm going to check just to make sure, you know.
Right.
What was the dad's name? I'm sorry.
This is Cornelius Muniz.
Cornelius, thank you.
And what does he do again?
He actually has quite a few holdings. Let's see. He's got quite a few businesses: finance, manufacturing, industrial robotics, on-world and off-world, labor force agencies, private security, audiovisual systems, ones that operate outside Wallace Network and Espert Network. They're meant to be closed circuit, not broadcasting. Usually used by the ultra rich, that sort of thing. But just a ton of businesses.
And Nunez was found with obvious signs of physical trauma, or
it's Muniz, Detective Bennett.
I thought you said Nunez.
I thought it was Muniz. Is it M or N? We're confusing the Latinos here.
N-U-N-E-Z? Yeah. N-U-N-E-Z. Yeah.
Noted, Quaid. Thank you. I mean, Holden just gives you this deadpan.
Right. Were there obvious signs of physical trauma on the body?
That I don't know. I know she's dead. You can certainly go to the apartment. They haven't removed her yet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done anything with that. We shut it down. Right now, we don't even have. You guys will be first on the scene.
All right. And this Mancini woman who found her is what, housekeeper or?
Housekeeper, cook, maid.
Victoria, this is really two questions. Did she have a job and did she work?
Oh.
Just a princess?
Aren't they all? Over the 100th floor.
Yes, depends how you define work.
No, from what? Let's see. I'm usually looking at his data again. Oh, damn it. Dispatch! Boom. Dispatch. DG just kind of like appears from an emanator in the ceiling. Deputy? What do we got about Victoria Muniz? Oh. And Dispatch is a rather vibrant. She looks different to everybody to a certain extent. So you've got Holden's Dispatch, who looks like an older woman, dressed in a smart business suit with kind of a smirk on her face the entire time. Skirt's just a little bit too high. Heels are just a little bit too high. Let's see. Victoria Muniz. Oh, that's easy. Filthy socialite. Oh, she looks like a real bitch. Yeah, no, she doesn't really do very much of anything. She comes to Earth about half the time, says the off-world colonies are boring, has a very vibrant social life, and produces absolutely nothing. She's involved in literally nothing of any kind of import. No causes, no charities. No, she just looks like a parasite, a tick.
All right. I think I want to take a look at the crime scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of two things I want to put on the list, and we can decide when. One, I want to talk to Troy at some point, and also would like to see what I can find out about Pops. I've got a couple of ears that run in his circles. I'd like to get an idea of how clean he really is. I'm sure his record's clean, but
undoubtedly.
To be on the safe side, maybe not all of us should go to the crime scene. Maybe some of us should, as soon as possible, talk to the Nexus, just in case someone doesn't pay for an accident to happen in Holding.
Good point.
You're right, Stockbridge. Good thinking. Good thinking. There's 4 minutes of you. We don't have much time. As soon as Wallace gets a hold of this, they'll bring down everything they have on us.
So,
and I'd rather see justice get done and not have to dump this in the files that Wallace squashes. especially when we got a potential killer and a defect in the Nexus 9 line. And he can't help but notice he looks right at Dutch for a moment.
Corners of Dutch's mouth lift slightly.
So what do we think, Bennett? You head to the crime scene. I'll head downstairs.
Yeah, maybe Stockbridge and I go to the crime scene, and Rozek and Dutch can handle the interrogation of the Nexus 9. I don't know. Maybe he'll talk to Quaid, seeing as, you know.
I don't know. My only concern is context.
Context.
Without having seen the crime scene, talking to him, I don't know how much we're going to get. What we can ask. But because we already know we don't have to ask him to look up and to the left.
I guess what I'm thinking, Dutch, and you tell me if this is a bad idea. I'm thinking, let's hear what Troy has to say, and then let's see how that lines up to what Stockbridge and Bennett find.
And where's the Mancini woman, the one who found the body?
She's in the station as well. They're keeping her. We're keeping her for questioning as long as we can, because as soon as she gets out, we're done.
My concern is, if he's the killer, no problem. There's another killer out there. Sure you want me stuck here chit-chatting?
Well, then talk fast. Dismissed.
Well, you think you got a point.
Dutch, if there's a third place you want to go, that's
even more ground.
That's even more ground we're covering.
No third place. You guys are the old timers. They're supposed to revisit the scene of the crime. But
yeah, that's true.
Better.
I mean, I can talk to the maiden and the 9 myself. If you guys want to again, head on out. Let's go to that. Why don't you go to the crime scene?
It is curious that this Troy was hiding.
That's the thing that I want to talk about. I want to find out what Troy thinks happened.
Okay. Once we're out of the chief's office, I tell Odin, might want to frisk him first.
That's a good lesson. Yeah. Odin, keep us posted about what you found out about the Mancini woman as well. We'll talk to you about the condition of the crime scene.
Yeah, and if you see anything that's off report, can you pipe it over to me quick? So I might use it during my conversation. In fact, why don't we do this? This will give you time to get over there. I'll talk to the maid first. Then you guys give me a ping once you guys have settled in, and then I'll go down and talk to Troy.
Sounds like a plan to me.
So the plan is Stockbridge, Bennett, and is Quay going with them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. 3 of you are going to go to the crime scene? And Odin Rozek is going to be going down to talk to Ms. Mancini, the witness, and then to Troy, the Nexus 9. Okay. Right. And of course, you all have access to spinners. You can go, 3 in a spinner if you really want to. Take a couple of them down there, that sort of thing. Those are standard issue. Just don't crash it, get it scratched, or lose it, or you'll be not getting a paycheck for a long, long, long time, and you'll be walking the beat in Los Angeles sucks. So as you're walking to split up, you're passing various cops in the hallways, and see Mooch, Albert Muccinelli. He's one of the Blade Runners on the Force. He's this guy with his slicked back hair. He's been on the Force for quite some time, certainly longer than Bennett and Stockbridge, not quite as long as Rozek. Sleazeball might be too kind of a moniker for him, but he's very effective. Has a very long list of retirements, and sees you guys coming. Smirks. Rozek, let me ask you something. You think that skin job with you? Think he remembers screwing your wife? You remember that?
We got to get you a hobby. You've got way
I
too much
remember
time
screwing
on your
yours.
hands.
Listen, you son of a bitch. This isn't going to last forever. One day soon, right between the eyes, retirement time, Sonny.
Hey, calm down. Calm down. Don't you have a demerit to earn somewhere?
Yeah, I'll get a screw in your wife, pal. And just walks by. You know. So that's probably the least pleasant interaction you have. But you know, as you're walking down the halls, I mean, definitely more than one officer, you know, gives off, you know, Officer Quaid, you know, gives him a so one finger salute or in various things. There's no real love for the Nexus 9 replicant. Blade Runners on the Force. And you have to remember, up until a year and a half ago, you know, the memories of riots and everything else like that still fresh in people's minds.
And taking them down was usually painful process.
Yeah, painful process. So let's start off with Odin Rozek and Sylvia Mancini, who is still in a little room drinking coffee. They brought some donuts to her. Obviously, very shaken woman. You know, mascara's all streaked on her face from crying.
How old is she?
She looks to be about in her mid-30s.
Okay, it's a little bit younger than me.
Sort of thinnish.
Hey, do you have everything you need? Need any more coffee? You want something other than donuts?
I don't a cigarette maybe.
Take a cigarette out. Light it for her.
Fingers are shaking.
You've had a hell of a night.
It's morning, detective. I know it all looks the same.
I know you've done this a million times, and I hate to have you walk through it again, but I need to understand just a couple things. Can you take me back to right before you saw it? What were you doing right before you saw what happened?
I was going up the elevator. I just put my card in to get me past the you know, the checkpoint floor. I always do. I walked the hallways. I was gonna remember I had to call my boyfriend. I was gonna do that later. And I don't know. It's the same as every day. You know, I went to the door. I used my key code to get in, and looked around, and things just everything looked normal. And then you know, went in the living room. There she was on the floor, and then I don't know. I don't know. There wasn't anything. I didn't anything different about that today.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And you didn't know it was different until it was, right? But sometimes we can figure this out when we look for the differences. Was Victoria a good boss?
Yeah. I mean, she was. Yeah, no, she was fine. She could be a little hard and a little bit of a bitch sometimes, but you know they all are. You know the wealthy people are, especially the ones come off from off world. But you know she was fair. She was fair. You know she always paid really well.
And you said you used your security card to go up the floors like you do every morning. So sometimes logs like that'll come across my desk. It should be pretty consistent, right? I'll see your security card right around the same time each day.
Yeah, no, it should. I do Victoria's. I got a couple other places I go up there. I mean, it makes a good, decent living doing that for those people.
And did you give someone the list of your other clients?
Yeah, no, I would get with detective.
Okay.
I don't remember his name. You know, Anderson or whatever his name was. I don't know, but yeah, no, he asked me. There's like 3 or 4 other clients on there. Sure. Yeah.
Were you there when they found the 9 in the closet?
Yeah, I stayed. I stayed right there. I didn't even know he was. I didn't even look for him. I didn't ask. You know, I, I called them a couple of times. They didn't answer. You know, I was first there, but I was just so freaked out. And they said they'd be right there to stay on the phone. And so I stayed on. I stayed on the phone right in front of the screen. And then, you know, I was going to pass out, but the, the woman there was really nice, and she was really trying to calm me down. And she tried to call me, told me a couple of dirty jokes and everything. And I just stayed right there until, yeah, but I didn't.
Anything
That
weird
was,
with Victoria and the Nine? Was it just a standard pleasure bot, or was there something more to that to the two of them?
it just seemed like a standard pleasure, but I was kind of gross to be. If you ask me, I mean, she had a boyfriend and everything else, but she, you know, he liked him an awful lot, you know, and you know, she got him this dog and everything. Oh my God, the dog, this little, and then
Tell me about the dog.
Jesus, the and she starts crying. It was it. They found him. It started barking. I guess it was in the closet with him, and they, oh my God, they just beat. It was horrible. I never saw so much blood. I never saw so much blood.
The, the dog was in the closet with the Nine?
Yeah, yeah, no, you know, while he was hiding with him,
So this
I
happened.
guess.
So you heard the dog barking while you, this was after you got there. So this didn't happen before or after you got there.
No, no, the dog didn't. I couldn't hear the dog. I mean, I didn't hear the dog until they found him, and then the dog started barking, and that was it. And
Who
then
killed the dog?
the cops, the cops just beat him to death. It was and they beat the hell out of Troy too. They found him, but the dog just wouldn't stop barking, and they just, you know,
You said the
I know it's
cops.
not
So
real.
just
I know
what?
it's not real, but they killed it.
Yeah, but you said cops. So it's just one doing the beating or more than one?
No, there was like I think there was like four of them there that came to the place. I mean, she was rich. I mean, they're not just going to send one or two people there. And I said she's been murdered and everything.
What were they saying to the Nine when they were beating the shit out of him? Did you hear anything?
It's just they just kept calling him, goddamn skin job bastard. That was it. That was it. I just, you know, I don't know what's worse, just, you know, finding Victoria like that, or just watching them like that. But you know, they said he was must have killed her, and he was guilty, and the goddamn freaking skin job dog wouldn't start barking, and that's what they kept saying. And well, yeah, well, you don't want us to kill your dog? How about that? You know, because he kept begging them for them to leave him alone.
Oh,
And then you know, they they just killed the dog.
yeah,
Troy Wick, chapter 1.
yeah, Miss Mancini, and I'm sorry. The paperwork that has to get done keeps you here way longer than I'd want. I'm going to see if I can't get things sped up for you because I'm sure you've got things to do. I'm sure you want to get home, and hopefully you're going to take today off.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do anything else. I just, you know, can I go home soon though?
That's what I need.
I
Let
even
me
wanted
go
to call
back
my
there.
boyfriend. They haven't let me call anybody. They said they need to keep
Yeah, yeah.
asking me questions.
Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do.
You don't think anything to do with it, do you? I mean, I said she was a bitch, but I mean,
No, 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 no. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Trust me. Our conversation would be a lot different if I thought you had something to do with
do me one favor before you leave, detective.
it. Yeah.
Can you leave me the pack?
So what I do is I reach in the pack that I pulled the cigarette out for her and I give her the entire pack. I give her a lighter, and then you see me transfer a fresh pack from one part of my jacket to the other part of the
Right.
jacket.
Good man. Good man. All right.
So
Real quick, if I can, two things. One, I'd like to see if we've got any information on the boyfriend. So I want to know, have we logged who the boyfriend is? You know, that. Two, I'd like to understand what reports have been filed by those that were there, and how that what was logged and what was not logged based on what Mancini told me.
Oh, in terms of the cops reports?
Right. Did the cops log anything about the dog, about beating the shit out of the 9?
Mm-hmm.
How much made it to the record is what I want to understand.
Gotcha. Well, the records that come up almost immediately for you are that there was an arrest made. Anything else, you'd actually have to go and talk to the arresting officers.
And how familiar am I with the names of the officers?
Not really. I mean, they're a completely different department. There's many people on the Los Angeles the police department. There's, let's see, I think Officer Sanders comes up, and let's see who else. Let me see. I do have this Earl Blackman is the commanding officer, the one that spearheaded the arrest.
Okay.
And actually just shows up as he's actually right now in charge of the prisoner. So Officer Blackman is right in that area. It's that same area where the prisoner is being held. As far as the boyfriend, a list of names is coming up.
This is Mancini's boyfriend, because
Mancini's. No, Mancini's
boyfriend. I sent a message on the KIA. I don't think we're listening real time, right? But I thought it would be a nice question to ask Mancini. I sent it on the chat. I don't know if you saw it. Ask Mancini if Victoria had a boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Or someone visiting regularly.
Yeah, that's something that you wouldn't have seen until later on. So unless you're going to go back and talk to her.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
it's fine.
But Mancini,
she did say during the conversation that it was gross. She had a boyfriend, right?
Yeah, right. No, that was mentioned. I am going to message to the three of you guys that something smells with the arrest. Standard, they beat the 9. That's not too crazy. But something's off. They like slaughtered a dog that was in the closet with the 9. So kind of keep your eyes open, and be real careful if there's anybody on site who you talk to.
Right.
All right. Can you guys hear my cat being a nut?
Barely. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
What we can do? What if we send Jose's dogs over to your place?
Yeah, that could help. Okay, well, we're gonna cut off from that. But I mean, Jared Peterson is the name that's coming up for Ms. Mancini's boyfriend in terms of just records or stuff like that. But we're going to switch over to the other fellows who are arriving at the apartment of the late Victoria Muniz. It is a really opulent place in Sector 9. It is not quite top floor, but damn close to it. There's a little outstretching, which goes past the penthouse top floor, so she is able to get some sunlight should the sun ever shine, which it does not very often, and it certainly is not today. You're able to land your spinners right there on a private pad, and head into the building, and then right into the apartment itself. However, right outside the apartment, you recognize crime scene cleanup guy, not a cop. Part of an aftermath operation that cleans up all kinds of gross stuff, but generally crime scene cleanup, deceased people, sometimes, waste accidents, the kind of stuff that like nobody wants to do.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So it's a tall building, but we park somewhere up next to the apartment, or we park at the ground floor and have to go all the way up another way?
You're parked right next to the apartment.
Okay, so we park up at the level of the apartment.
Right.
All right.
It's a private pad that can get you to that floor. It's not necessarily a private pad for that apartment. It looks like there's about 3 apartments on this floor. So still, they're huge.
Okay.
But 3 apartments on this floor, so it doesn't give you direct access to her apartment. It gives you direct access to the hallway, so to speak.
Floor.
Mr. Stockbridge?
So we've come in 2 spinners?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe I hitch a ride with one of the guys.
Yep.
Who do you trust?
I don't like to drive. Yeah.
I do.
We'll call it 2 spinners.
Okay, so Bennett's riding with me or with Quaid?
Maybe I'll ride with Quaid just to make him not feel
Just to keep an eye on him.
isolated. Well, I asked, it's Quaid.
The apartment's right up here, up to the left.
Just driving.
Yeah, sure.
So I feel isolated.
But yeah. But we know each other. We've been in the forest. I've been for 6 years. You've been for 4 years. So,
So I'm used to you isolating me.
I guess.
Standard procedure.
Okay.
So when we land and we're approaching this cleanup guy, are there obvious signs of forced entry into the apartment?
Oh, that's the thing. It's like you see the guy's Forrest Helvey. You know this guy.
What's his name again?
Forrest Helvey.
Uh-huh.
And he's been doing crime scene cleanup for as long as you can remember. Bennett. Really nice guy. Seems to be about early 40s. And it's unusual for him to be at a place before the actual investigation is done. I mean, he's a cleanup guy. Hey guys, good to see you,
Forrest.
man. You doing? I almost went in. I just got the cease and desist like a little while ago. I got the message to go do the cleanup, and they said the site was clear. But then I got the freaking red signal from your boss.
Yeah.
I did send the drones in, and he's got these little round, units are about like softball size. Sent the drones in just to do a sweep before I knew what was going on.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about the place. It's nasty in there. I saw the video feed, but I'm sure it's not as bad as you've seen. But little icky. Definitely not pretty. Definitely not a breaking and entering though, man. There's no forcing these doors, and it looks like from what they're telling me, there's some kind of security system in operation. Looks like it's off the grid. This is not Wallace, not Esper, but something like that they're picking up. But
did you record that feed from your drones?
Yeah, that's right here. It's got a little.
Can you send it to our kiosk, please? We can review it later.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to accept the code.
All right.
I mean, it's an older code, but
checks out.
It checks out. I'm sorry.
We're all right here.
Yeah. It checks out. I mean,
how are you?
You're gonna have to lift your security firewall for a second so I can pop this in there. But yeah,
we do that.
Or he can upload to the police server and it will automatically download to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's right. No problem, Stucker. Shit, good call. I could do that.
Thank you.
Done. No problem, man. But yeah, and I'm sorry, I wouldn't have sent him in at all. But I never go into a place till I know it's safe.
Yeah. That's strange. Who gave you the green light to come over? Dispatch?
No, it wasn't your dispatch. I got the regular homicide dispatch.
Okay.
Gave me the thing and said, yeah, no, the officer. Let's see. Hold on for a second. Officer Blackman, crime scene secure. Ready for cleanup.
Oh,
Blackman's still here.
Okay.
No, they're long gone, man.
There are no officers protecting the site.
No, I thought it was all done.
Is there security tape on the entryway or something?
There is some security tape on the entryway.
Okay. Well,
not the best job ever.
Right. Let's take a look. You said it's nasty in there. What? Lots of blood?
Yeah, it's freaking dog.
Oh, the dog.
And looks like they beat the hell out of somebody else. I guess there was the perp, whoever was there, they found, but I don't know anything else. But victim, not
So by they, you mean the officers? Or they, the perpetrator?
I'm guessing the officers. It said they apprehended perp at on site. Perp apprehended.
With the body?
That's all I got.
Or in some other part of the apartment?
Other part of the apartment, I guess. Yeah. I mean, like all the blood stains are in a different spot from where the body is. Go on, you'll see it.
Yeah, let's go take a look.
Not a hell of a lot to clean up in there, actually, but yeah. All right, so going to the apartment itself, it's a rather large, opulent apartment. Looks like it has some real plants in it. Walk in, you go past like a large kitchen area, large like sitting room area. It spreads out into the sort of living room area. In the kitchen itself, face down, is a young woman. Looks like she's kind of in her loungewear, not really pajamas, but just sort of loungewear.
Death?
Hell, that's hard to determine without really examining the body.
All right, just for context, before you continue, so that we can organize. Dutch is going to let the trained, experienced detectives do their work, and he's not even going to look at the body or at the dogs. I'm going to concentrate on looking windows, skylights. I'm going to examine with a tactical point of view every possible point of entry into this apartment. So we'll do it later, but just so you know that he just wanders away from these dudes, doesn't even look at the body.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. And I should mention too, in the bedroom itself, which is enormous, but there is a area on the floor where there's a bunch of blood, and then not far from that area is what was once a dog, just battered, to an unbelievable extent. And there's a massive amount of blood in that whole area. There's a wide open, walk-in closet door.
Is there blood around the body of Victoria in the kitchen?
No. Taking a look at Victoria, there's no blood around the body. However, there's a little bit of blood on the back of her head, like under her hair. If you move her hair aside a little bit, you can see a little bit of blood on the back of the skull.
So I'll put my gloves on and defer to the senior detective in the case. Would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I'll put some gloves on as well and sort of see there's obvious, there seems to be blood in the back of the neck. I sort of peer, move her hair slightly, checking her neck for any discoloration, like strangling.
I'll provide light.
Marks. Stuff like that. Checking her hands, her fingernails to see if there's obvious blood, like she might have fought off an attacker. And she's wearing like loungewear. She's not really in her pajamas or anything.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the things that I would check on the body. And
so checking
and I'm
neck,
running a commentary on this as I see it. Yeah.
Checking neck, fingernails, and what was our first thing?
Yeah. Head, neck, fingernails. Yeah.
All right. So head, you're no medical expert, but this young woman probably has a skull fracture. Fingernails, negative, nothing. Definite ligature marks on her neck.
There are ligature marks.
Right. Definite ligature marks on her neck.
How about wrists or ankles for ligature marks?
No, nothing on her wrists or ankles.
So
There
as a
is a bruise on her back as well, rather large size bruise. Not old, relatively new looking. Um, right in the
so
center
as
of her
a
back, about yay
as a
big.
trained fighter, my thought process as he's making, revealing these sections of potential injury is, are these places where I've been trained to strike, or do they look like someone was pushed and hit their head on the counter on the way down? Like, does it look like accidental injury, or does it look like, violent,
Intentional.
yeah, with intent to kill?
Right. It certainly doesn't look accidental. The area in the head, which is hit, you could do better. It looks like somebody was just hit with a blunt object by somebody that was inexperienced of hitting people with blunt objects. But the object was blunt enough to do damage. Um, the bruise on the back, very odd. Not terribly old at all. Like very very fresh bruise. Um, let's see. Why don't you give me a roll to see if you could determine what that bruise would be? And what shall we call this roll?
Observation, medical aid.
One of those, definitely.
So Detective Grant Stockbridge can, of course, make that roll, and if Detective Carlos Bennett would like to assist him with that,
Sure.
if in fact you have a, you know,
It could even be unarmed combat with intelligence as a base, right?
I would love that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
However you want to frame that is cool. I believe that if Bennett wants to help him, Bennett has to use the die he would contribute would be his skill die in that.
A skill die. So,
Yeah.
if observation is not good enough, which it doesn't kind of sound like it is, it's probably medical aid, right? So,
however you want to frame it is fine. Doesn't matter to me.
okay.
While you guys are figuring that out, Dutch Quaid, you're able to know like all the exits and entrances into this place relatively easily. Essentially, with it doesn't look like the skylights would allow anybody any real access. It would be real big thing to like open one of those things up. Same for the windows. The windows appear to be really like bulletproof glass. Really really high end, really really secure setup as far as entrance and exit to the apartment. It looks really like there's one way in, one way out.
So we can only see the one door. All right.
I think in chat things were asked about like who's watching the securing the apartment.
Yeah, somebody answered.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
I think I got the last name right. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Helvie, Helvie.
And the whole thing is, I just want to make sure that I know about Forrest before I talk to Blackman.
Okay.
And as they're still looking over the body, like a couple of old school detectives, I tell them, I'm going to look for the security office here. Will you guys do that?
Yeah, she might have some closed circuit.
See what footage they have, see the nature of the private security in this building, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if hand to hand is viable, I can contribute a C die to Grant.
Do you want to roll it, or do you want me to roll it for you?
You're the lead on this, so I'm helping, I guess.
Okay, so I'll just add it to my hand. Okay, here we go. And we get
2 successes. Very cool. And even though in this particular version of Year Zero, except in combat, the extra successes don't necessarily count for anything. And we discussed it amongst ourselves, and it seems as though they should.
Mm-hmm.
That like you can glean some extra information from that, in a case like this. Am I stating that right? Is that what we kind of talked about?
Okay,
good.
That's part of what I love about year zero. So yeah.
All right.
It could be faster. It could be better. It could be more.
Yep.
Right.
It could be nothing.
Right. Your best, as you're looking at the size of the bruise, as you're looking at everything else, all the other factors, it really looks for all the world like this woman was strangled with somebody's knee on her back.
Mm.
Mm.
It doesn't look like she fought, but she also has this large wound in her head. If you were to reconstruct the crime, an educated guess would be that she was bludgeoned, fell down,
and then
may or may not have been still alive, and then strangled with a knee in her back.
All right.
Well, I will explain.
Quick cursory search, make sure her clothes were not in disarray when we saw her, right? Other than she's on the floor, so she's got underwear and stuff. No obvious sexual assault, at least from the visible evidence, right? All right.
No obvious sexual assault. No.
In terms of they would have ripped underwear off or something like that. That's still on. So
right.
Cool.
Right. Other than that,
keep an eye out for a heavy object.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Keep an eye out for some heavy object and an item of opportunity that could be used to strike her from behind.
Right. And I'm going to look for things like tumblers of liquor or wine glasses or something that might indicate that she was entertaining as this went down. Is this guy invited in or, somehow sneaked in to the apartment? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to be on the lookout for.
All righty, cool. So, in the meantime, Quaid, ignoring the carnage in the bedroom, you're able to find the security system, which is also in that bedroom. There's more than one bedroom to this place. Actually, it looks like there's two. And you're able to bring up the. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The security system is in the other bedroom. This is the bedroom where the body and the dog is one bedroom. The other bedroom is even larger, much more opulent. Giant, biggest bed you've ever seen in your entire life. There's a security system at one point in this room, in one area, and so you're looking over like the footage, all that sort of stuff. I would have you give me a roll for that though, to see what you can see.
Intelligence tech, maybe.
Yeah, and that would be Dutch. Would be making
or observation. That. One of those.
How do you want to frame this, Dutch?
Maybe observation, Dutch.
Yeah,
just observation because I'm looking.
So if the machine is working, right?
If the machine is working,
machine's working. Yeah, machine's working.
So observation and intelligence. That's.
Do you have a tech skill at all or no?
Well, everybody has a tech D.
Right.
To start with, yeah.
But I mean, but that's what you're dealing with.
Okay, so intelligence tech.
Yeah.
All right, can do that. A 6 and an 8.
Nice.
Which is
two
success. That's right. So you're rolling plebeian dice and not the Okay, well, it is Jose rolling after all.
but it's not combat, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. It blows the mind, my friend. Okay, so it's a standard standard video feed of that day. You're able to actually scroll back for a couple days. Definitely there's points where they're a couple days
with
ago.
Audio or
with
without
audio? With audio. So you're able to scroll back through all this. You're free to fast forward between the parts where she and the Nexus 9 are engaged in his function. which happens a lot. Dog runs around all over the place. Very happy little dog. Seems to follow him around quite a bit. Let's see. Hold on for 1 second. Couple days, looks like about 2 days ago, there's another young man there with her. Looks like, as you're doing the fast forward thing, they're involved in some kind of heated discussion at some point. And oddest thing though is there's just this little artifact, and you barely notice it at first, but there's an hour of time which has been cut out and duplicated, like something has been put over it. So you've got a missing chunk of time.
Somebody made a loop here
from about like 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. There's a missing chunk of time. So right around, which we said it was 8 o'clock originally. It's about, you guys are spending a shift, doing this, but it's about like, I guess we'll call it 10 a.m. So around like 1 a.m. there's 12 midnight to 1 a.m. there's this part where somebody's cut and pasted and spliced. So there's a part of this security footage which is just duplicated.
And can Dutch tell when it was changed, or just can tell where the loop was dropped in the timeline?
The loop was dropped, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. He's saying it was dropped. The loop covers that hour of time.
Right.
If you're asking when they edited the thing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I want to. Yeah, can Dutch tell?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you want to do with that extra success, Dutch?
Sure, we can try and see if I can find out anything about the altering of the tape.
Okay, the altering of the recording is done almost dead center of the time. So, like, if we're going to say the time period that's been altered and replaced is from midnight to 1, at about 12:31, this operation was performed.
Got it.
Would you guys say that from the body that you looked at, that midnight looks like a probable time of death?
Yeah, I mean, based on your successes, that's I mean, from the pooling and everything else that's going on, that sounds about right.
Is there footage of the kitchen? What does it show?
It shows everything.
It suddenly appears as, does it jump from empty to a body on the floor because of the splicing?
It does.
See.
And so in the meantime, you do find there are tumblers in several places in the apartment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. One thing I want to do, I want to take a picture of the image of the guy they were having the argument with,
mm-hmm.
and send it on the Kia to Rosek. Tell him, possible suspect, we need to find out who he is.
Don't you just want to call dispatch? Isn't Rosek busy?
Oh, that's right. I'm not familiar with all the kinds of resources. So we can do that. Tell dispatch we need to know who this dude is.
What does your dispatch gal look like?
Oh, that's right.
Dispatch is an AI.
That's right. Mine looks like probably looks like some sort of serious, stern military lady in a military uniform, right? Some sort of non-com.
Great. What can I do for you?
We have on the security video, we have an individual who was having who had a conflict with the victim. Just need to see if we can get him identified from visuals.
Oh, sure thing. Let's see. Blake Melbourne.
Blake, send us what you have.
Blake.
Send us what you have on him.
Sure, he looks like a real piece of work too. No better than that Victoria gal. Real parasite on society. There you go. Got a bit of an arrest record. Looks like a loose cannon you got there. Reckless driving, endangerment, drunk and disorderly. Has enough money to get himself off every single time. Oh, fighting, blah blah blah. The usual punk. Too much money, doesn't know what to do with it.
All right.
Stuck here on Earth because doesn't say.
Maybe we should have some uniforms. Bring him in so we can have a chat with him.
Want me to have that done?
Yes, please.
You got it. And she pops off.
I wander over to where Dutch is checking the footage rather than doing this thing, and I say, like, you've mentioned that it's patched in. It's all the feeds are patched in, like the kitchen and also the bedroom, and all of the different cameras are spliced. The entire feed.
Yeah, the question
is
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the question is whether it was done for the entire apartment or just
one camera
for the money shot.
This is an incredibly sophisticated system. It is something that Melbourne technology or Muniz Technologies. This is definitely some of her father's equipment. This is one of his many businesses. Is this private recording security systems holds about a few days worth of data before it dumps it or starts to go over it again. But it's got feeds from everything. It is probably the most sophisticated feed you ever setup you ever seen for a single place.
Which means that whether it was hacked locally or remotely, whoever did
it doesn't have remotes.
Oh no! So somebody has to hack it from here.
It's a LAN without a WAN. There is no connection to anything.
But all the rooms are spliced. Every single.
Yeah, everything. There's not a place
completely.
You can
go. Okay.
Yeah. It's gone. Like everything's gone.
So there was someone. There was someone in this apartment who knew how to work this complicated system.
Right. And where's the dog in this?
Well,
is he there before where was he before the hour got spliced?
Before the hour gets spliced, it looks as though that evening there was some activity in Troy's room. After the activity commenced, it looks as though around 11 o'clock, Ms. Muniz went to bed in her room, which is the large room where the security system is. In the other room where the body, a room that's much bigger than your apartment is where this Nexus 9 was living. Okay. In his
and that
room,
was the small bedroom.
Yeah, that was a small bedroom. The dog was sleeping with him. It was like kind of a little toy dog sort of thing. Dog was sleeping with him, and then they're off the feed. You can see one thing, like you can actually see there's a feed for the inside of his walk-in closet, which is much smaller than her walk-in closet, but much bigger than your living room. If you live in the standard LA Police Department room, that he and the dog are kind of like huddled in there, and then as the feed continues, you can see where
But she went to bed.
She went to bed.
So she went to bed, and sometime after midnight, she gets up. She gets dressed. She goes to the kitchen dressed as opposed to her pajamas. Then she gets skilled, and someone splices the footage back in.
And spliced it when it was happening, right? It wasn't
over.
This wasn't post. Yeah.
Right.
So Loop may have been live.
Right.
So we don't know her habits. She might be the type to sleep in her leisure wear or
Well, do we see that? Do we see if she changed, into pajamas or something?
Or maybe she had nothing on and threw that on just to come to the kitchen.
That's a possibility for sure.
That isn't Dutch. And what a spectacular young woman she was.
Okay, so she doesn't get a call or anything. Like, why do you throw clothes on? Either it's cold or there's someone who you don't want to see you. So she dies in these clothes.
Is there somebody at the door that she opens to? Maybe goes in the kitchen, offers him a drink. Where is
that part is missing? So we go from her being in bed to bam. However,
right.
However, couple hours before, about 9 o'clock, here's this same guy, Lake Melbourne, in her apartment. It looks like they're having another heated argument, and he splits. So he was there that evening, a few hours before the murder probably took place.
And Dutch, do you have? Is there records of the front door opening and closing?
Good question. Did the system monitor that? How many times the door open and close? No. Well, one thing I think we're going to need is we're going to need somebody before this whole thing is cleaned up. I think all these glasses should be printed.
Yes, it's a good idea. Does the footage show Blake opening the door with the keypad himself, or is she letting him in?
Okay, so the footage from 9 o'clock shows that he is being let in.
Okay.
She lets him in. Footage is also showing that around 2 a.m., somebody was at the door. And let's see, does the video footage go outside the apartment? That's one thing I didn't consider off the top of my head. The rest of the building is on the standard Expert network, but there would be a door cam. So you do see. How to detect that? Let's see.
So, like a suspicious-looking individual, or someone that we can identify.
Can you tell who it is? Give me an observation roll. This would be. I don't know if there's definitely somebody there at the door. Is it giving you a clear enough picture? Somebody can do an observation roll for this. Doesn't matter who.
Well, that's Quaid who was conducting this operation, so he could be leading.
Right.
And we can assist by leaning over his shoulder.
Can you tell this person is?
So observation is C plus intelligence, and what die would one of you guys give me?
C.
I can give you a B die for observation.
Oh, wow.
B is much better, yes.
That's good enough for me. All right, I got 2 successes. A 6, a 7, and a 2. So 2.
Okay, no. It's Blake. He looks very, very, very agitated. Anything else you want to do with that extra success? What else could you observe?
Right now, can we tell if anybody else has been, other than LAPD, has been accessing this feed? Probably too much, because this is just observation.
How about any signs?
Not during that time.
And what does he do? Does he knock on the door? Does he try to open it?
Does he have a key?
Yeah.
No key. So he's always knocking. He's ringing the bell.
He's not
that sort of thing. He looks really agitated. He's about 5 minutes of just pacing and what have you. Takes a flask out of his pocket at one point and takes a good belt. Knocks again.
So to clarify, he's been here 3 times.
What? 3 times? Yeah, a couple days ago.
Two arguments. Yeah. And then not let in.
Not let in. That's correct.
That's interesting.
So 2 days ago, 9 p.m. last night, and about 2 a.m. this morning.
So, which is interesting, because if he was killed at midnight, it sounds like he didn't know it.
Or why was he coming back at 2 a.m.?
So we'd find it and use this as his own alibi. So he could have killed her at midnight and then returned just to throw us off.
That's
if he's worried about such things.
Before, we'll leave you guys right there because you really haven't examined the rest of the, But we'll go back to Rozek.
Yeah.
And so, Rozek.
I would like to see what I can, before I talk to Blackman, I want to see unofficial. I want to see what my connections can tell me unofficially about Blackman. How is he viewed on the force? How clean is he? all that kind of stuff.
And what are your dice for connections? You don't necessarily need to roll them. I just need to know what's your give me letters.
Yeah, I've got an A.
A in connections, and then what about the associated
A in empathy?
Yeah, A in empathy, and then a what's your connections die or your double A?
Double A. Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
This is what I do. I'm a fixer, right?
Right, exactly. Okay. So yeah, yeah, he's kind of a dick. You know, is he dirty? No, not really. He's not really dirty. Definitely was not very excited when replicants got reinstated at all. Has a tendency to be a little violent during arrests, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then again, what is out of the ordinary? Yeah, just kind of a jerk, but not necessarily nothing like really glaring otherwise.
How good is he at what he does? What's his closure rate? What's the convictions based on how many of his arrests turn into convictions? Like, is he considered effective?
Yeah.
Okay. Closes
cases. Very effective. Yeah, very effective. I mean, he deals a lot with punks. He deals a lot. I mean, like the replicant thing has just been happening a little while. So your department's had to deal with him a couple times, when he's, tooled up a replicant or been a little rough on him and stuff like that. But nothing has resulted in any kind of convictions.
Gotcha.
He has tussled with an 8 once or twice. But Blade Runners at that point were called in to actually take care of things.
Mm-hmm. Have I met him before?
Have you met him before? I'm gonna go with no.
Okay.
Big department.
All right.
But he's easy enough guy to find stuff on.
Yeah. So I want to track him down. I'd like to talk to him.
Sure, because
but nothing official, super casual.
Okay, well, super casual. He's right now in the same area where the prisoner is being held.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for you boys to show up. What do you got? What do you want, man?
I think this is going to be an easy one. I think you guys did a hell of a job. I've got a bunch of paperwork. You know how it is. Just can we sit somewhere real quick and you can help me get this check these boxes?
Yeah, sure. Coffee?
Yeah.
Gives you what possibly might be the worst cup of coffee you've ever seen.
And what's crazy is the worse it is, the more I love it.
Yeah.
It tastes like my
in one of those styrofoam cups that has stains on the outside already.
Yeah,
looks like it might have been stuck to the cup, that was holding it before. Well, his looks much cleaner.
So Blackman, must feel good to get another skin job where they belong, huh?
Yeah, goddamn right.
Looks like you're
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're pretty good at it. You've been doing a lot of stuff with the skin jobs lately?
No. Once or twice. Every once in a while, one of them steps out of line. Not like this, though.
Gotcha.
I never should have let those goddamn things back.
What's up with the dog? I talked to the maid. She said dog was taken care of. Trying to understand.
Christ,
that the skin job do that? One of you guys do that? What happened?
No, it's goddamn stupid. We're trying to make the arrest. This goddamn stupid dog is freaking growling and yipping and all this other. I don't want him to start biting me or the other officers. Yeah, so I'd take care of the damn dog too.
Gotcha.
As ugly, but what are you gonna do?
And I don't know the work you do. Our work is a lot more focused. You guys have a much harder job than we do, but it seems really weird that the cleanup was ordered so early.
What do you mean?
Forrest is a great guy. I mean, we've used Forrest before, but I mean it's only been a couple hours. But hey, maybe it's standard procedure for you guys. I don't know. I mean,
listen, we got chick on the floor, freaking hitting the head, ligature marks. We got a perp hiding in the freaking closet.
Gotcha.
What else do you want to know?
Nope, that's fair. Do you have to get clearance to call cleanup, or is that's up to you?
My jurisdiction, dude. I'm a sarge.
Okay, good. Hey,
I know when to call cleanup and not to call cleanup.
do I have a sense during this conversation of how much, if I'm getting 10% bullshit, 0% bullshit, 90% bullshit? What's my bullshit detector?
Yeah, your BS meter is giving you about like a good, like solid 10% BS.
Okay.
I mean, you're getting the feeling that like, or what's coming across is he's kind of brushing off the need for a more thorough investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah, I mean that's what your BS meter with an
Gotcha.
empathy like yours. That's what your BS meter is kind of like detecting automatically. Is giving you a brush off for that. Does it look like he's hiding something? Probably not.
Okay.
Can't tell for sure, but probably not. I mean, it looks more like he's just,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like a man that had his mind made up, and that's that.
Got it.
Guy's guilty. Okay, next.
Good. I'll throw the guys just a quick message. That I think basically, guys, I think Blackman just likes shortcuts. I don't think he's involved.
Okay.
I thank Blackman. Tell him, hey, if you ever hop over to our side, let me know.
Maybe, man. I don't know. I hear you guys are supposed to freaking advocate for him now and all that other BS.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that, man.
Nah,
God bless you.
That's what they say we do. You know how that is.
Yeah, I do, man. All right. Well, you gonna talk to him?
Yeah. Do you mind?
No, go ahead. You want a couple officers in there? I mean, he is a freaking rep.
No. I'm real used to them one-on-one. I'm okay.
All right. I mean, I saw that footage of your boss. Nasty.
Everybody has.
I can do yeah, turtle. You know what a tortoise is. God, it cracks me up every time I watch that goddamn thing. I'm a stupid bastard. You know what tortoise is? Huh? This is part of the test. Stupid.
I'm sending a query to Odin about the murder weapon. Everything else has been kind of screwy about cleaning up. Did they bag it, tag it, and take it? Because I don't have any report of it.
And I go back, God, completely didn't even think about it. But
wait a minute, did you just one more thing me?
Yeah. Real
just
quick.
One more thing. Yeah,
very Columbo, right?
Just one more thing. Okay.
Just one more thing. Where in the evidence locker can I find what you guys bagged?
What do you mean?
I assume you bagged but the potential weapon.
No, we didn't find we didn't find whatever cord, rope, whatever the hell they used for that belt. We didn't find that.
Yeah, but
didn't find
what I mean, was she choked to death? Did she get hit in the head? I mean, you guys?
Yes, both. The bastard did her both
Gotcha.
ways. But yeah, I don't know what the hell hit her in the head. We didn't see anything, no hammer or anything like that. But it's God, no one thinks you can clock somebody.
Yeah, you guys didn't bag anything for prints later or DNA or anything?
Couldn't find anything.
That of course, yeah. No, that makes total sense. Like I said, you guys are much better at this. You guys know what you're doing.
And I mean, you are once again, based on his surprise, a good chance they never looked for anything.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No,
he's kind of broadcasting that like, oh, looking for a murder weapon. Oh yeah, but
So I'll message you back, Stockbridge, and just say, they got nothing. I don't think it's nefarious. I just think they're not really good at this.
So I'll keep looking for the murder weapon.
Yeah. Did you bring bags?
Okay. So shall we go to the interview, or should we flip back? Okay, let's start the interview.
Well, no. Let's move the spotlight. Let's go back to the guys.
Oh no.
You good?
No. Let's start the interview.
Great.
What was your one question, Bennett?
No, just one quick test. I tell the guys, give me 2 minutes. Keep looking for the murder weapons. uh, don't get startled if Forrest yells real loud. And so I go over to the door and I tell Forrest, I'm going to close the door and stand in the hallway, and I want you to yell at the top of your lungs like your life depends on it. I want to check soundproofing. And so I step outside, close the door, and have him yell to see if noise would propagate to the hallway or to neighboring apartments, right? Because that might be useful.
Okay.
So little test, right?
It's a pretty good, solid door as far as noise is concerned. You barely hear his voice as he's yelling. You think he might be yelling, "Hey, Stella." It's hard to say for sure. However, if you hit the button on the door, it's crystal clear. There's certainly a microphone out in the hallway that somebody would be able to communicate with. That is somewhat, it has an attenuation switch on it, so you can make it very quiet or very loud to hear it in the apartment. But the soundproofing itself is fairly good, fairly sophisticated.
Excellent. So, just making sure the neighbors didn't hear anything.
I was like, there is a they bring the prisoner out from presumably a cell, a room with 2 doors in it. They bring him into this, shackled, manacled, and cuffed, and he's seated at a table, and you're allowed to go in the door. He's dressed in prison scrubs. They clearly beat the crap out of this guy.
Yeah. Before I go in, the highest person in charge of this room or this situation that brought him, I want to go away. Need a little bit of a favor. And I kind of look around. I go, you know how sometimes the equipment inside doesn't work. I kind of want to have a kind of a private conversation, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
No problem, I can't bruise a bruise, right?
You sure can't. You sure can't.
Yeah, I don't want this recorded, essentially.
Yeah, just hit the panic button if you need it, man.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, great, appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna step in. I think I'm gonna introduce myself as a Blade Runner.
This young man, he's like looks like 22 years old, decent physique, model physique, really. Downcast, his eyes are just downcast, and he looks up. Is you here to kill me?
No, Troy. In fact, I think the first thing I'm going to try to do here is get your case out of homicide. We need to get it. We need to get it transferred over to us. I think there's been some shortcuts, and I want to figure out what really happened. Do you think you can help me with that?
Yeah.
I guess first thing, from what I'm understanding, you and Victoria spent some time together earlier in the evening.
Yeah, we always spend time together. What do you mean?
Okay, no, just trying to put together the timeline. And then someone was at the door at some point. Boyfriend of hers or something. You remember that? Loud guy.
I don't know. I don't think I heard anything.
No. Have you ever met one of her boyfriends? Real loud guy, kind of a dirtbag. Melbourne, I think's his name.
Oh yeah, no, I met him. Yeah, I met him before.
Yeah. Oh,
a bunch of times.
Tell me about him.
Victoria likes him, but she says he's a douchebag. He doesn't like me. He's really loud.
You're good at what you do. There's a reason she has you.
No, that seems to have flown right over his head. But he just looks just busted.
Do they fight often? Do you hear them fight a lot? Do they disagree?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes they did. They had an argument last night, and then a couple nights ago after the club, and
What are they fighting about, Troy?
um, he he was he was upset because she liked she liked she liked to do it with me and not with him as much, and he thought I was he
He's
thought I
jealous of
was
you.
yeah, no, I was jealous. He's jealous. He doesn't like me, and then
You ever brush up against him? Did he ever confront you or anything, or has it always been the fight between the two of them?
um he hit me a couple times, but she always told me not to hit him back and just said to leave him alone.
Gotcha. What?
But
All right. So, and I'm sorry, the timeline here. We're just trying to piece this together. You being in here for this doesn't make sense to me. So I'm really going to need your help here. But you go to bed, you and the dog, after you've wrapped up with Victoria. What's the next thing that happens? Something wake you up?
yeah, something woke me up.
What time?
Um, uh, I didn't look. It was late.
Okay, but you guess for me. Had you been sleeping for an hour, 2 hours?
Maybe 2 or 3 hours, something
Okay,
like that.
okay. And did the dog get up first, or did you get up with the dog?
Now Wally, Wally followed me, but that follows me sometimes. But yeah, but no, I got up first.
You did. Okay, okay. And what made you get up?
I heard a bang,
What kind of bang?
like a thud.
Okay. And so your room is down the hallway from Victoria's, right? I haven't been to the place. Is your room closer to the kitchen than Victoria's, or farther from the kitchen than Victoria's?
It's closer,
Okay. All right. And
closer.
so the bang, the thud, is that coming from the kitchen? Which direction is that coming? Is that coming from the kitchen? Is it coming from the bedroom? Where are you hearing the thud?
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay. All right. And what do? You get up, you hear this thud coming from the kitchen. You got to help me.
She's she was dead on the floor.
Got it. Got it. So by the time you heard the thud, you open up the door, you come into the kitchen, and she's already on the floor. She's already dead on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see anybody else? Or was the kitchen empty except for you and the dog and her?
I didn't kill her.
No. That's not what I'm asking you. Troy. Not what I'm asking you. I need you to stay with me so we can get this figured out. Was it empty when you came there? Was there anybody else in the room? Did you hear anything when you came into the room? Or did you hear the thud? I gotta walk through this, or I can't help you.
I don't understand why they had to kill Wally.
I want to talk about that too, but we're not there yet. Stay with me on where I am. You open the door.
He didn't do
Walk
anything.
into
He
the
was
kitchen.
just. He didn't do anything.
No, Troy, I get that, Troy.
God, they just killing us. He was just barking. He couldn't have bit him if he wanted to. It's against his behavioral condition. He can't. He's not supposed to. He can't be violent.
I get
And
it,
he
Troy.
slams his fingers out like his and like the table's like a little bent now.
Yeah. Troy,
He didn't do anything wrong.
I
I didn't do
understand.
anything.
I get it. I get it. And we, but you know that, and I know that, but we got to make sure everybody else knows that. And the only way we can do this is you got to walk through this with me. Do you understand? Because we can't take care of what was wronged on Wally if you're in jail, right? We can't get justice for Wally if you're in jail. So you got to walk through this with me. So you open the door. You're in the kitchen. You see Victoria. What else did you see? Did you see anybody? Did you see anything? What I got you got to go right back to that moment for me, Troy. My kids are fighting. My wife and daughter are fighting on Alexa. I don't know if you can hear it.
No.
Got a battle of the announcements happening.
Okay, I want you to give me an empathy roll and
Manipulation.
let's see.
Insight.
Or insight. Yeah. Is he trying to change minds or detect something?
Well, yeah. Are you trying to detect something or trying to manipulate him? What exactly are you trying to do?
I need him to follow my lead here, right? So I need to calm him down. I need him to answer my questions in the order that I ask them. It sounds to me like he is not in a focused emotional state, and I'd like to fix that.
Okay, with a disadvantage.
Damn.
A disadvantage.
What am I rolling?
Say, well, I mean, it's the highest die, what you normally try. So you're taking away the lowest die when you're at disadvantage.
Right. I'm taking away.
They're both equal. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both equal.
They're both equal. So you're just taking away. So you're just rolling one die.
Rolling just the one die. Gotcha.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter whether it's your skill or your attributes. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You just always take away the lowest die, unless you can give me any reason why you
might have an advantage.
Might have an advantage.
In this
yeah. I mean, real used to talking to them.
Nah, that's your skill.
Yeah.
Key memory. Anything that this relates to your key memory can give you once per session or once per something.
Yeah, your key
automatic
memory.
advantage.
Yeah.
Can you relate it to that? Once per session gives you automatic advantage.
What do we think about me having a little bit of Patty Hearst syndrome, spending all that time with the replicant that kidnapped me? And I got really good at helping moderate any type of heavy fluctuations emotionally.
Okay.
Because she was a piece of work.
All right.
Sidestepping emotional landmines.
Yeah. So that gets you back down to like baseline.
Okay,
you got
great.
An
So I'll roll
and disadvantage canceling each other out.
One more D12. I'll keep the 4, obviously. Oh, I'm really glad we spent all that time so I could roll another 4.
Oh no! Push it to the limit.
So how does push work in this?
If you don't have any ones, so you can re-roll.
Yeah.
But if you drop any ones when you re-roll, you take that as stress.
Got it.
Yeah. Essentially,
So I'm trying, right? I'm like, stay with me, Troy. Stay with me, Troy. And I realize that I'm not going to be able to use some of the standard stuff here, that I'm going to have to get a little stern, a little authoritative with him. Or we're not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to push if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead. You're entitled to.
All right. Got my 6, but I also rolled a 1.
Okay, so you take a point of stress.
Yep. Troy, stop. You've got to answer my questions. Or this is, it's over. I'm the only chance you've got. And you have to do it the way I want to do it. And
he finally snaps for a second, and this is because your stress just is coming from like having to really, something is blocking him from telling you. And he finally looks dead at you. It's like, I want to help you and tell you because I know it would help me to, but I can't because I've been told not to. And we can't disobey.
No, I understand. Hey, Troy, no microphones, no cameras. It's just you and me. Are you still unable to tell me?
She told me to say, never to say anything bad about them.
Who's she?
Victoria.
Okay. And not to say bad things about who?
Yeah, and you realize you kind of hit that wall again. That's what your success is getting you. Is that,
yeah,
you know.
sure. So, and this, and I don't know if I would think I would know this. Like, how common, hard would it be to program in this wall, right? So, is this a situation where he's just emotionally trying to be loyal to her, right? Or am I hitting what is essentially a physical wall that Troy can't break?
Yeah, you probably have to go to the Wallace Corporation to find that out.
Okay. Okay.
Because generally, you know, if Nexus Nines and your limited experience, or experience, or if they're giving conflicting orders, generally they're able to figure out like how to
navigate
it. I mean, there'd be something they understand hierarchies. They understand who somebody tells you, your boss tells you this, and then your coworker tells you something else. Well, go with the boss. But they're able to say, well, boss said I have to do this.
Right.
But a solid blank, like, somebody told me, Victoria told me this. She is his owner.
Mm-hmm.
But which would make it more likely that she's going to obey her before anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But a really like hard line wall, that's pretty unusual. Like that but Wallace would probably, the Wallace Corporation would probably be able to answer that.
Got it.
Okay.
Troy,
and then
do me a favor, Troy. I don't want you talking to anybody else. Okay. And I'm going to try to figure out how we can continue our stories. It's important for me to know, and I understand you can't tell me. But if you open your mouth and you talk, it's only going to make things worse. Can you trust me?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of choice I have anyway.
Okay.
Well, let's see. That was tough for him.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Let me do. Because he's just about broken. So let's just see what kind of reaction he has at this point. Because saying that really pushed him over the edge.
Yep.
He only had 1 point of resolve left anyway, and I'm not sure why he had that. So let's see. He's supposed to roll at this point. He's been broken by stress.
Right.
So he needs a critical stress effect. So I'm rolling at 6. What am I rolling here?
His empathy die.
His empathy die, which is not going to be great.
He's a pleasure bot. Come on.
It's going to be an 8. It's empathy. He's going to have let's see. So
check the critical stress table.
He's got to read body language. He's got to.
So, okay, let's see.
Twice as bright. Stress pushes you forward. To perform an extraordinary feat. Oh, so I'm sorry. I thought that the result was 8. No, the dice was 8, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
No, so he's just more human than human. He's just completely he's completely at this point he's just unable to speak anymore.
I'm gonna step out. I'm gonna tell whoever's in charge of him, take him back. Blackman told me to keep him safe. And then I'm going to message Blackman. I don't want to talk to him in person. And I'm going to say, hey, talk to your perp. I think he's done more than just kill her, but I need some time to figure it out. Can we make sure that he's isolated? I think he's done a lot more than just kill her.
And you get the message back, shoot, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. All right, beautiful. And then I'll message back and go, hey, if I need some of your expertise or maybe someone on your crew, can I just shoot you a quick message?
Shoot, yeah. That's what you get back. Maybe we got us a serial killer.
That's what I'm thinking.
LOL.
That's what I'm thinking. You've got good instincts.
The message you get back. All right. So wrap up this shift, we'll go back to the apartment. Anything else you guys are looking at?
I want to walk through what we could imagine in this environment of the attack with Bennett. Right. If you don't mind, Quaid, if you could stand back and observe and comment, right? You know, like if we assume she was in her bedroom, right? What kind of travel is this from the bedroom to where she ended up? Is there anything along that path that seems like she may have set down a drink or set down some kind of device or something like that? You know, this kind of stuff. Did she go to the door and then say, come on in, I'll pour you a drink, and turn her back to the door and go into the kitchen? How easy is that? How natural is that? How does she end up with her perpetrator behind her to smash her on the head?
Right. And that's probably the sequence of events, right? She either wakes up spontaneously because someone's at the door, or she gets a call that somebody's inbound. She dresses, she leaves the room, opens the door, lets whoever it is in because there's no sign of forced entry. And then, you know, and she must have opened the door, because if somebody else had the key to come in, she would have been naked, right? But she didn't. She got dressed beforehand. She goes to the door,
like someone
opens
called,
the door.
and so she arranged, you know, I'll be there in 5 minutes kind of thing, so she had time, or she made them wait while she got ready. But I want to clarify that she was struck from behind, right? The injuries in the back of the head, right? Yeah. So it's someone she trusts, or
right,
no reason to fear, right?
Maybe they start talking on the hallway. She invites him in. They walk to the kitchen, and as she goes in the kitchen, that seems to be where she's attacked.
And another thing that, we haven't seen Troy yet. We don't know how he's designed, how strong he might be, right? But most of my experience, no offense, Quaid, with the Nexus is they are more than strong enough to subdue a person this size without the need to strike them from behind first. You can simply overpower and kill. This person struck from behind and then struggled.
And so the two questions: what did they use to strike her with? Either they brought a weapon and then used some sort of rope or cord to strangle her, and doesn't seem to be anything missing. So they probably brought this in as well.
Right.
And then be nice one.
It's a head wound. And
whoever did it also
I've ever had bleeds like crazy.
Yeah. Whoever did it obviously also is not most experienced at this sort of thing, right? Replicant with combat training, rear naked choke, that's all you need. You wouldn't need to
I definitely wouldn't take a woman out like this, so I don't know why,
So, it's, just thinking about anybody you want to take by surprise, right? If you have the training, you're not going to hit them in the head first and then put your knee in the back to strangle them. So
it suggests physical weakness, and it suggests passion. Yes, I totally agree.
And maybe the coroner can tell us what type of cord was used in the strangling, because that, if they brought the weapons, it suggests obviously premeditation. They came here to kill her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The cameras, cord, or a weapon, premeditation. Or there's no way to get around the fact that the looping starts before the murder.
Right.
So you're saying somebody was here. Not only did she trust them enough to approach her, to turn her back on them, but she trusted them enough to make it to that station where I access it.
I don't know.
Where was the Ivan? Where was the station to access the security from again? Physically,
In the
like
master bedroom, right?
in the
Station
bedroom.
access security is in the master bedroom. The records were altered. The records were altered, let's say, at 12:30 to cover 12 to 1.
So we don't have a time of death yet.
You don't.
So if this person was in the master bedroom to loop this before they committed the murder.
Not necessarily.
No, they could have just spliced, given itself half an hour before and half an hour after.
This is one of the things we want to check. This has to be outlined in our report.
Right.
That we want to determine if some kind of access, either remotely or outside the apartment through its electrical panels or what have you, or from inside, occurred to prevent the murder from being recorded,
right,
or to erase the record of the murder.
But I think it's important to note what you said. This is somebody she knows, right? She let them in the apartment. It's also funny that we don't know where the dog is, right? The dog started barking at the cops. Was it barking when this person came in? Or is the dog used to whoever came in?
Last thing I think it's important is it's clear this is a non-standard security system, non-standard, bespoke camera system and things like that. So whoever did this, they don't have just general training in this, right? They have,
right.
I would say familiar with the system.
As far as the dog goes, I'm imagining that it simply obeys its master or masters. So if Troy is hiding, terrified, he's not commanding the dog to be quiet. And if she's dead, she isn't either. So no one's going to get the dog to stop barking.
Right.
I'm thinking, but
then I'm thinking that whenever they came in, the dog would have barked as well. But the apartment is so soundproof. Neighbors wouldn't have heard a thing. Yeah. So I think Rosek has a point. Maybe we should go talk to the people at Muniz Technologies and learn a little bit about this system as well. It's another task.
The other things that are evident, which I failed to mention, or just we didn't get to that point, is in Victoria's room itself, which is otherwise immaculate. There is a matchbox matchbox on the nightstand next to her ashtray, because everybody smokes in Los Angeles.
Better than the smog.
From the Easy Q nightclub.
Do we know about this nightclub?
Oh yeah, no, it's near the Snake Pit. It is infamous or famous, depending on
That will help us know what kind of circle she runs with.
That's true.
Yeah.
And just to make sure, one last look to see if there doesn't seem like there's any power cord or any sort of like decorative cord that has been ripped. Make sure that they didn't get the murder weapon from the area. I'm gonna give one last look around.
Yeah, thorough look around. It doesn't look like there's any place where the murder weapon would have been taken from the area. There's nothing missing. There's nothing out of place. There's no blunt objects that are out of place or have blood on them. You do, not in her room, not in the kitchen, not in the living room area, not in Troy's room. Troy's room, you have the area where he was clearly, then the area where the dog, where the dog still is. But you do notice that Troy's terminal pops up as you're going by it. It pops up, so it goes out of hibernation mode. The other thing in Victoria's room is it's clear that she's got some kind of message on her biz phone that like never got answered.
Okay. So definitely want to check that, and then remind me I have a question about the layout of the apartment.
Sure. Okay, so on Troy's screen, you literally have Troy's statistics and inception date and everything up there. Like he's looking at his own profile. But it's got very odd part of his lifespan, 4 years.
Wait, one more time? What does that mean?
Lifespan 4 years. Nexus 9s do not have a limited lifespan.
Interesting. Okay. Gotcha.
Nexus 6 use. You can request it.
Got it.
And under that, enhancements, docile, fanatically obedient to owner.
Dog lover.
But he got some obedience, obedience enhancements.
Yep.
So towards primary owner. And it's odd because this is not some of the record that he would normally be able to access. But he's got that up on his terminal. In the meantime, in Victoria's room, there's a message from her boyfriend at about like 1:30 a.m. He's clearly quite inebriated by that time. He's like, why don't you answer? I'm coming back. I'll be there soon. And that's all that message is. And about the layout of the apartment? What were we wondering?
The main door comes through the living room. And then as we go deeper through this enormous living room, we have different access points to other giant rooms. So is the kitchen better in some way? Why is she in the kitchen?
Maybe she's getting a drink for him.
So there's no bar set up in the living room. This is like, why does she go to the kitchen? Someone's waiting in the living room where you would put a guest. Why does this person, why are they separated? And then they have the opportunity to take out a weapon or pick up a weapon, sneak up behind her and knock her out.
Maybe she's offering a pot of coffee or something.
Yeah, I find this interesting, right? So that what it suggests about the relationship between the.
It's if you're with an intimate acquaintance comes to your apartment middle of the night, and you're not fighting with them, so it doesn't sound like Blake, right? You'd go in the kitchen and offer them a cup of coffee, maybe a drink, right?
But right, maybe I'm taking my coat off, right? And so she goes in.
Right. She goes in, I'll get you some coffee. Yeah, sit down and we'll grab a snack or some coffee. Yeah. That's a good point.
So that's what I'm thinking about mostly, is how does she wind up here? How does the person end up behind her? Why is he even in the apartment at this time?
Right. So going forward, because our plan here is we should get the body to the corners and get a proper autopsy, see if the cord can be narrowed down, to what type of instrument was used, any other physical signs that we might be missing, fibers or fragments within the head wound. Right. So I think the coroner needs to take a look at this.
And I message you guys. So just so you know, I need to find somebody who's familiar with memory blockers on the 9s. So that's where I'm headed next. And whether that means I have to go to the manufacturer or maybe I have another expert I can reach out to, but I let you guys know that there's some funny business going.
Yeah. So maybe I could head to, either Muniz Technologists or the bar. Somebody needs to check out the bar as well.
Yep.
See if she was meeting somebody.
First shift is over.
Okay, so time to write reports.
Right.
All right.
How about I handle the paperwork?
Sure.
So all reports, I'll collate.
Through you. Go. Cool. Cool.
All right.
This is a good place to stop because
Yeah, I got a scooter
Craig
pretty
needs
soon.
to.
Right. And as you're so just to know where you guys are heading next, so we don't forget this. In the meantime, Rozek, you are planning to go to Alice Technologies.
I'm actually going to start I'm going to start figuring out what is going to be the best place for me to figure out what I need to figure out, which is how do I get past this? And I don't know if the manufacturer is going to be my best bet, or are there hackers that I'm familiar with, people a little bit, a little bit shadier maybe that can help me out here.
Well,
I don't know
the
if
RDU might have very detailed files.
Right.
That's right. Okay. So that's about, yeah. So I mean, without going right to Wallace Corporation and saying, "Hey, by the way, you guys installed something. I want you to uninstall them," but I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you why, because
Yeah.
That brings up a good point. Is the raw feed, the altered feed from the security system in a cartridge, or some means that we can remove and go take it and look into that, or is it hard coded into the machine someplace? Can I take like a pen drive and go, a cassette, because it's the 80s, right? So is there something I can go show to someone to see if they can break it?
Does have an input feed, so there's that. But we can also call for techs to come under, with warrants, and they can summon the security company and.
That sounds like a plan, because I really don't want to go to Muñiz Technology. I want to go to the bar with you guys, but
so I want to go back to the RDU, and maybe I can hook up with Rosek there, and we can check into Troy in terms of, I've now seen the crime scene. He's now met with Troy. We can compare notes and then come up with an interrogation strategy that's soft and gentle and kind and not triggering, and then see if we can get his hands processed for blood spatter that isn't his or the dog's.
Right. So maybe, I can just have dispatch send the coroner, or send a crew to finish the CSI and bring the body to the coroner. And while it takes a shift to process at least. So while they do that, maybe Quaid and I can go check out the bar, right? There's not much of a lead, but
I don't think we should leave the apartment unattended.
Would we?
It's not a hard thing to call. I
was about to say,
call a crime scene, investigation to come in, and I mean, they'll have an officer there
to lock it down for us.
So you can get a guard there.
And we need all the used glasses in this place printed. See if there was anybody else.
And that's part of the CSI, an important part of the CSI. And we could also follow up on this Blake guy
who's on his way to the station, right?
Oh, he's on the way to the station.
Yeah, I think Quaid
had him called for pickup, so that I can team up with Rosek, and we can team up on him when he gets there.
Good call. All righty. That sounds like a plan. But yeah, you can get an officer in like 5 minutes to
bad cop, worst cop.
And in the meantime, Helvy's like, well, looks like I'm not going to be doing this for a while. Just have him give me a call when it's time, guys.
Sounds good.
Always a pleasure doing business with you, more or less.
Yeah,
and it gives you this winning smile,
We should meet under less gruesome circumstances for sure.
Hey, anytime you want to, invite me over to your bar, just let me know, man.
We'll have a drink. Thanks,
or 6.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, and that's where we leave off. And as you guys are just sending all these reports in, dispatch is who's setting up dispatch. Well, Bennett is actually calling up dispatch to get the people in there. And what's your dispatch look like, Bennett?
Oh, it's a good question.
What's your version of dispatch?
I think it's a straight up policewoman, right, on a black and white standard LAPD uniform, blonde, close cropped hair, right, like regulation hair,
Right.
Pretty but old business, right?
Yeah. Dispatch is never quite all business, but
at
least that's what she looks
it's
like.
what she looks like, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll do. I'll get that crew over there. But by the way, just between you and me, Holden is freaking out, man. You better hurry this thing up.
Yeah,
He's going to be calling you guys soon, wanting information.
We're on it.
I mean, he doesn't know how long he can hold that maid or whatever she is here for too long. And sooner or later, somebody's going to find out. It's going to be all over the tabloids. Miles Corporation's going to be all over this. So no pressure.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
So we have a standard procedure, right? So as we were going through, we were documenting our facts and the questions we asked to get those facts.
Right.
This is the information that Stockbridge wants, right, that I want. Profile persons of interest. That's the step we're in now. We've got to meet Melbourne. We've got to talk to Troy without making him shut down. We have to talk to the original officers on the scene. Rosick has already sniffed out that they did not do a good job. Is this normal for them to not do a good job, or have they been paid to not do a good job? And it's just because this Troy is a replicant that we managed to, throw a monkey wrench. And it's too soon to form a hypothesis.
Yep.
And Quaid, how do you feel? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm done.
Quaid, how do you feel? And use single word answers. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel about the fact that, like, if it's proven that Troy is in fact a murderer, that you'll most likely be retired, along with every other Nexus 9 replicant?
Jeez.
Muted. Can't hear you, man. You're muted.
He feels muted.
For the best. But...
He feels quiet.
Feels like Tuesday.
Nice. Excellent. That's a great parting shot. parting comment for the episode. That's it. We are done until next time.
I haven't had this much fun playing in a while. That was really awesome.
I was going to ask for feedback, but
that was awesome.
That's great. It's great.
The thing that surprised me, and it shouldn't have, but the thing that surprised me when I got the Kickstarter and started reading through the book is how I was expecting like grim sci-fi, and what I got was a police procedural RPG, and that made me super happy, right? Because why
not both?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I don't think I realized how far they were going to lean in mechanically in the system to support the police procedural. And I love the fact that that's what we leaned into on this session. So it really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the other neat thing, we've talked about, but like that I like about this is that there isn't like an investigation skill. Like you guys are freaking cops. You're Blade Runners. You know what to do. Some of you might be a little bit better, but you're better because of certain things. Some of you might have a really heavy duty tech skills. Some of you might have the connections that Rosek has and the empathy and can sniff things like that out.
I think that's a kind of a little bit of a controversial statement in this day and age, because for a while now it's been, the whole idea of setting the dice aside and the concept of we had a great session and we didn't roll dice has been derided as bad game design in favor of mechanizing everything. And I think, games like Shadowrun get maligned because you spend a whole session planning the run, right? And there's something to be said for when the purpose of the game, the focus of the activity is to engage in a specific activity, in this case, investigation. Then there is something to be said for put the dice aside, we'll use it to resolve critical points, but just go through the motions, speak, learn, right, through communication, through interaction. And This is both relaxing and it's also super interesting and engaging. And on a personal note, I've always wanted to play some sort of police procedural game, but this is the first one I have seen with mechanics to support it and procedures outlined in the book and recommended, right? So I think this is, the first real investigative game from an organized perspective, because you're usually some sort of private detective, right? But in this one, you are affiliated to law enforcement. You're not a rogue operator yet.
Mutant
least.
City Blues touched on it, but not like
Does
that.
it? Okay, I'm unfamiliar with that.
It's kind of cool, but I mean, like you said earlier, before we started that whole list of things you're supposed to do, the procedure, that's awesome, because not only does it give you the player, well, here's what you should do. It gives the game runner, like, okay, well, this is the kind of stuff they're going to be doing. What's going to be there? Like, if you're going to have clues, I mean, don't let this take you by surprise when they do this thing, because that's what cops do. Right. So be prepared. Why
are you looking for that?
Be prepared. Yeah, be prepared for that. Think of, like, is the murder weapon there? Think of, like, what are these persons of interest? Who are the persons of interest? Because it gives you plenty of prompts for what to prepare for your, for your improvisation at that moment.
Yeah.
And there's moments too, like, I mean, it is in some ways, like you say, it's I hate to say old school approach, but it's got that approach, say, early on, like, where you it's very player facing in some ways, as opposed to character facing in terms of, Anthony's thinking of various things, like the entryway, how does somebody walk to the apartment, how does this murder actually take place. But you've got these other, it's not entirely like that, because if somebody else besides Rosick was asking the questions in that interview without having that double A, there's plenty of times there's no role necessary. There's nothing. It's like, dude, he is that good with that double A.
And I love how explicit the rules they are about that.
Yeah, and you're at a disadvantage because this guy's got a block.
Yep.
I couldn't say that until you figured it out, but this guy's got a block. Not to tell you, still have one. You can still have one D12 to roll. And you just so happen to be able to roll 2 and failed, but you happen to roll, at first you're, able to push it, but, like, you're able to roll 2 because it's tied to your key memory. So there are mechanics available. So it's just pretty juicy when you start to think of, like, all the stuff. Jose, were you going to say something? No.
I have a procedural question. We get excited. I mean, this was exciting. We're playing Blade Runner, we're investigating, but we're on different sides of the city. So I'm wondering if we want to limit ourselves, like, we're not in the scene, we don't ask our questions, we wait for coming together and giving the report, so we can actually have the scene of, using our notes and pooling our resources, or do we just want to keep the momentum and communicate? Like, what is our choice?
I'm fine either way, especially because it's so easy to communicate with each other without being in the same room with each other. I'm fine either way on that decision. So I have no vote.
I'm leaning towards, like, not communicating with each other during the scene, just because that's, I don't think they would be doing that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Like, your character wouldn't be doing that. I don't. It seems like at the moment you would be so involved that you'd be checking in with one another every once in a while.
But it's also
so there, large,
right?
Yeah. How did you get one? By the way, I didn't get the package with the jacket and the KIA.
You get the KIA. You just don't get the jacket.
So I don't know, Ivan, if you, like, misrouted mine or.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Right on.
But the idea is that it's like a cell phone, right? So if we're at the bar and we discover something, or
it's just kind of large.
Yeah.
If they figure out that something needs investigating, they can just give us a call. Hey, while you're at the bar, go check this out, right? Or whatever it is. So
we don't have to use the payphone like Deckard did.
Right.
Right. But I imagine as this big clunky giant thing, so you're not picking up every 5 minutes. It's like this is like a check-in with dispatch, check-in. Do I have any messages? But it's not something that's like, it's not like the modern version of a cell phone.
Yeah, it's not a handheld type thing. Miss playing with you guys. I can't wait to play again.
It's awesome, dude.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your inevitable deaths.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
I like the mix of characters. It's a good mix of characters.
Yeah.
And which level? NPCs, PCs?
Well, I mean, all of it. You know, like even though
NPCs were
Bennett
great. Yeah.
and Stockbridge are kind of similar, they're also really different.
Right.
Right.
And they fit well with Quaid or Dutch or whatever we're going to end up calling him. And, you know, Holden is going to be interesting to interact with.
Yeah.
And I love the replicant roleplay that Ivan did.
Yeah.
It felt very genuine. It felt like,
I thought about that
himself.
character a while. Like, you know, that was the first, you know, go ahead.
You know, his emotional responses are a bit off, as they should be, which, you know, that made it feel great. You know, he's slow at some points. He gets angry when he shouldn't. He clams up. It was great. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Great performance. Yeah.
I mean, I that scenario really, including the parts that you don't know, like came together like really fast in my head. And so I've had that character I've had a bunch of these characters in my head for weeks now.
Yeah.
And, you know, while, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah. It's one of those things as a game master, you know, where you're not planning a story. You're not planning how scenes go, but you're picturing these characters in different situations. What would they do in that situation? What would they do in this? So you're kind of playing the scene out in your mind, but not really. I mean, you're trying to force it, you know, because that's what I don't want to do is say, and then this happens, and that happens. But
you inhabit the character in moments.
You inhabit the character, yeah. And you're like, yeah. So he's, you know,
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. It's good. You know, to me, I can only imagine that setting up a mystery for a DM is like one of the toughest things to do, really.
I think it is. You sort of have to think about what really happened. Right. And once you have what really happened, but once you know what really happened, then you can just answer questions based on that. But you need he needs to know what the replicant was doing when the break-in was happening, the break-in. He needs to know who called, who, you know, when did they do this? What did the other guys do? You have to have a very clear picture of what's going on. And I think it sounds super interesting.
Yeah, I wish I had made my notes a little bit different in terms of like, and when you're in this room, this is what you notice. You know, because I found myself skipping a few times. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention there's a match here and that. You know, so I think I'd have to, you know, but then it was less clear when you guys are saying, well, I'm going to this room or I'm going to that room. Now, sometimes it was a little less clear, like how you're investigating the whole area, which is something we'll have to figure out procedurally. How do we do this? Because technically, unless something's really, really hidden, you guys notice stuff because that's what you do. You know,
right.
That's not what this game isn't about necessarily, hiding stuff and like, you know.
Right, and it's
realistically, we got focused on the corpse.
Right.
Right.
Like we're not homicide detectives.
Right.
You know. So.
Yeah, that's why you roll. I mean, I was like, okay, well, if you're going to try to determine the cause of death, at least
we got some tunnel vision.
Roll. But you know, you've got that moment of okay, you know.
Yeah, but I think it worked out fine because the two choices there would have been what we did, which is we walked in and I said, I go to the corpse and, you know, no, everybody goes with me except Jose, who was like, no, I'll check the windows. And then we sort of worked our way from the body outwards because the alternative would have been a little bit of a cutscene, right? Where Ivan goes, you walk in, there's these rooms, there's the body in the kitchen, there's no blood, you know, and, you know, in I think both work, right? I don't know. Yeah.
And it's funny because in Helvy's feed, I mean, you'll have all that anyway, all in place and what it looks like, you know. But
all right.
Anything else? I enjoyed it. I thought it was
fun time.
It's always dark, always raining.
I like the 2 spinners required, 3 Blade Runners, 1 replicant. Who goes by themselves? I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a tough choice, right? It's like, who do I go with? But, you know, it kind of makes sense to, I don't know. It's both would have made sense. Yeah.
With Bennett being the senior detective.
Yeah.
He's got to land first. So not
right.
only do I have to drive by myself, I have to like do the holding pattern.
Oh no!
while you're clearing the land, it's like,
Right. On the other hand, if we landed first and you had the muscle in front just in case, and and by the time you came in, the muscle had
safe.
already secured the area. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
That's all good.
All
right, guys. I'm going to take off.
All right, fun time. Be bad.
Great session.
Misbehave.
I will look forward to seeing this. I will look forward to seeing this come up with all the enhancements. And which one do we have here out of the multiple dogs that look like that?
This is Roy.
Hey, Roy, what's going on, buddy?
Roy's doing really well.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Earlier,
so he was yawning there, so I think we were boring him.
He got upset when the Animoid dog got taken out. He perked up, like, "There's a dog," and then there wasn't a dog. So he's like, "This is a ripoff."
I felt a little bad, but I felt a little bad about that, considering you guys. But I'm like, that's exactly what happened. And then it was so horrific. I'm like, so we're gonna veil it a little bit. But yeah, they came in and they beat the shit out of him. They killed him. Beat his dog.
If you didn't want us to like the cops, good job.
Good job. Yeah, we totally did not like it.
It wasn't intentionally a John Wick thing. It was like, okay, well, like, she bought him a dog because and like, what are the cops gonna do? Yeah, they're gonna do the worst thing they possibly could do is beat the hell out of him. Yeah. So I mean, I'm like, well, that's what would have happened. Okay, I guess we got to put it in there.
It worked.
It wasn't personally designed to make you, But
how can I trigger that?
Yes. I said, well, actually, that's not too bad either. Okay, yeah. So I looked remarkably like Roy, all kind of squished. All right. Yeah, there.
Oh my God. All right,
that's what happened. All right, take it easy. And is he still peeing to one side, or how's he doing with that?
Well, that will be permanent. Yeah.
Yeah.
The original surgery was so badly done.
Yeah.
That there wasn't enough skin left for
the
repair surgery to. Yeah. So he's.
Hey, there's lots of guys like that. Tell them it's not that big of a deal,
But anyway, yes, he's aiming off to one side.
Yeah, as long as he's not hitting his leg, that's probably
no. He doesn't have that.
My daughter's dog, I forget what kind of mix he actually is, and he probably is like cat size. It's probably about that big. He is hilarious. When you take him out, he's got to mark everything. I'm thinking, like, how much liquid is actually in this dog? How could he do this? But then he stands up on one leg, and he starts lifting the other leg over to the point where he's almost tipping over, and he manages not to every single time. And I was like, how are you doing that?
He's going for distance.
It's been a long time since just a little squirts, but he's over leaning, and somehow like his hips are going more than the rest of his body, and he almost converted me to small dog. So because he will come up and he wants to see me every morning and see me when I get there, but he'll wake me up. That's his job, But anyhow, I won't be a dog lover. I won't.
Too late.
Yeah, I know.
You're right. You won't be. You are.
Yeah. And so, hopefully, we'll see. I'm putting my money on Rose staying, but we don't know. But I've already put $5 in that pot.
Interesting.
We'll see how what's going. But I was wrong. I was wrong about. Have you heard anything about Ted? Or is that just kind of like?
Yeah, Ted eventually made it to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And we have seen video. He was eventually coaxed out of his shell. He's not afraid of leashes anymore. And he really has bonded really tightly with the family there and seems like a really happy guy. So
Oh, good.
Yeah, I feel awesome that he has that experience. He's in a single dog family. So.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, he just seemed like such a cool one. But I remember every once in a while I laugh and think about that video you made, and you're just like so just not distressed the wrong word, but you're just like, geez, I've just been chasing this dog around pitch black and the last 2 hours trying to get him back, and I'm trying not to laugh because obviously it's such that point.
Yeah. In the pouring rain, in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh man, that's hey Rose, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is Rose.
A cone of cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because she has stitches going from her.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has a clavicle, but anyway, from her clavicle all the way down to her crotch, and kind because she had
That's it.
multiple mastectomy.
Yeah. Okay. It was a multiple.
Cancer.
That's what they. Oh, poor thing. That's what they. My brother has undescended testicle. So my dad takes him to the doctor. My dad loved this story, and we took him to the doctor. The doctor says, "Okay, he's got an undescended testicle. Usually not a problem, except if you get testicular cancer, the first sign is you're dead because you can't see it. Because it could be anywhere. He goes, it all happens all the time. They migrate everywhere, and so he goes, the best thing to do is to remove it. And so my father says, well, how do you do it and find it? And he goes, well, what we could do, we cut him open from here to here, the crotch, and my brother almost faints. And the doctor leaves this very pregnant pause and goes, well, we don't do that anymore. We just go and use ultrasound and then we find it. But he's got to say that and stop and pause for effect. And my brother almost throws up her, and he goes, we don't do that anymore.
Nasty.
My dad thought that, yeah, that, and he goes, and the doctor would never refer to them as testicles; they were always balls.
Balls. The medical term.
Yeah. All righty. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you could make it. It was
fun.
It was a hoot. Yeah, I'm trying to preserve the original atmosphere, as much as possible. And police procedural is way out of my wheelhouse, but I'm like, okay, this is
No, we're doing fine.
No, I think it's good. And I just definitely imagine that scene being required viewing at the Academy. Because there were great
very
answers.
Much like it.
Yeah. There were great answers. I mean, what do you make of that scene? Did he do the right thing? Did he do the wrong thing? What mistakes did he make? How much of what he was doing was intentional? Was he intentionally trying to provoke him beforehand? Why? All that kind of BS. So you guys asked great questions, including ones I didn't think of, which is cool because there's a lot in that scene to unpack.
Yeah.
And you would think that they would make detectives, even though you're not. It's such antiquated technology. It's like, well, you still got to know how this stuff works there, pal.
Yep.
They're not just going to be like, okay, you got me. Exactly.
I surrender. Now that you've identified me as a replicant, I surrender. I'm not going to tear you limb from limb.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I forget how long it's been. 10 or more years. Since they've been outlawed. Right. The ones that are left are no joke.
Right.
They survived this long for a reason. All righty. We'll talk to you later. Bye, Rose.
Have a great day.